This is Hannibal here from thehannibaltv.com, and I'm with Jared Bear Fiorda, who has a fight on UFC Fight Pass tomorrow night. He just finished his weigh-in. How did that go?
Oh, it was great, man. I gotta tell you, I had a good time here today. It's a beautifully run event. It's Fury Fighting Championship, Fury FC. Weigh-ins, of course, good as always. Want to make sure I'm on point. Had a nice time. Met my opponent. Met the lovely people on his team, and I just gotta say I'm excited for tomorrow night.
Is this the biggest fight of your career, do you think?
Yeah, being on Fight Pass is absolutely the biggest fight of my career. It's the first time, not first time televised, but on something like this for sure.
How long have you been fighting for?
I've been fighting actively for the last 6 years. Now, COVID unfortunately took some of that time away from me where I wasn't able to get out to a gym because a lot of them closed down here in California. But since about 2016.
So what gym are you based out of exactly in California there?
Out in California, I'm training with Dan Henderson's Athletic Fitness Center. So training with Dan Hendo Henderson over with his team. I've also trained a little bit around about a couple of different places such as Combat Submission Wrestling or CSW in Fullerton. But when I go in to fight, I do always make sure that I'm representing Free MMA, my nonprofit.
And that's a nonprofit MMA school that you run for kids, correct?
Yeah, it's not just it's kids, adults, elderly. I try and give everyone self-defense lessons or martial arts lessons, or if they want to learn how to fight in the cage one day, I give them cage tactics as well, all for no cost out in Cathedral City.
So, what are your goals in MMA? Do you plan to move up to further towards UFC after this?
Oh, absolutely, sir. I want to get as high as I possibly can. I want to seek the glory. I want the belt, and I want to continue to promote the idea of free martial arts through those adventures and make sure I can put as many nonprofit gyms around the world as I can. So, I want the gold, and I want the gyms out there.
What are some of the challenges that you're going to be facing in this particular fight?
So in this fight, I'm definitely the shorter guy. My guy's got reach on me. So I'm thinking more like how I can keep the distance nice and tight, just so I'm not getting peppered from out of range where I can't hit him back as easily. Other than that, I think it's more mental. You know, everyone deals with stress. Everyone gets those nerves built up in them right before their bout. And so it's a matter of quelling that, getting my training, my like pre-fight training in, make sure I get a good sweat going so I care a little bit less about what happens in the cage. So really it's mental, and then overcoming just his reach advantage is going to be the next step.
How did you feel doing the face off with him? Did you feel comfortable out there?
We haven't done the face off just yet. That's what that
Okay.
ceremonial part's going to be about. Now, meeting him, he was a nice enough guy. He's another smiley guy, which I appreciate. He didn't look like he wanted to tear my head off, but you know, people can change real quick inside the cage, so we don't know just yet.
How important is the mental aspect of fighting, do you think?
Oh man, it's everything. You can be the worst fighter stylistically in history, but if you've got a killer mentality, you are unfazed by anyone you face off with. You're ready to go in there and go balls to the wall immediately. You'll probably end up the winner just because you're more mentally prepared. Prepared for that fight. But yeah, I think if you are in a good headspace, you got a strong team behind you, you're confident in your training. That's the next thing. You're gonna go out there and win.
Cardio wise, what have you been doing to prepare for this?
So I initially had a different opponent for this bout. So I was actually preparing for him up till about a month and a half ago. And he was, from my understanding, a striker as well. So I was working a lot of my striking basics in game, some grappling just on the off chance that he decided he wanted to go to the ground, but I wasn't anticipating that exactly. For this gentleman here, he was okay standing on the feet or going to the ground. He submitted his last opponent, but he kept the fight mainly on the feet, throwing a lot of spin kicks and fun stuff you'd like to look at the cage, which excites people. So I don't think I'm too far off from what I trained for with the last guy. Mainly a striking match, but I am definitely ready with a lot of wrestling, specifically submission wrestling, if he decides to take it to the ground.
I understand that you train in combat submission wrestling, which is no gi most of the time. How do you feel about training in the gi compared to no gi?
I think of it like this, you know, when you train no gi, you have a more realistic experience for the cage. Obviously, you're not going to wear a gi, you can slip out of stuff. Sweat is a huge factor in that. So I definitely think it gives me a slightly more realistic idea of what I would experience grappling against another human being inside the octagon. But Gi Jiu Jitsu, that's where all the technical stuff comes into play. Say, for instance, that guy's got extremely great grips and I can't break free just because I'm sweaty. Now I have to actually know how to get out of this hold, which where the gi aspect comes into play, because then I can't just maneuver my way out of someone's grip or someone's triangle choke or someone's got my back. I can't just slip out and face him. I have to know exactly step by step what to do, which is what gi jiu-jitsu will give me. I can't just rely on my sweaty body.
And what's your record at this point?
So my record at this point, unfortunately, through Camo is 0-3. So not the best time, but I'm definitely looking to turn it around and start making a big comeback starting here.
Well, you still look like you're young, so there's no time like the present.
Exactly, man. I'm looking forward to making sure that that's my last fight. My last loss is the last loss ever. Never going to see it again.
Have any of those losses been by knockout?
No. They actually haven't. I have one by submission, which I sometimes try to debate a little bit just because I feel the stoppage was early, but I do try and play by the rules. That's their call. The one after that was a TKO where there was a ref stoppage, and the last one was decision. I lost realistically because of takedowns, which was motivated me to try and push through and work so much more wrestling this time, because I don't want to lose just because the guy can put my butt on the ground for half a second.
How's your diet been for this fight?
Good. I went to primarily plant-based foods, actually. I went a lot of raw food. I went a lot of plant-based. I went like vegan-esque to an extent. Now, there was still fish and chicken and some good stuff in there that I really love to eat from time to time, but I had to stick to that kind of diet because I don't cut water weight. I don't wait to 3 days out and start gradually reducing what I intake. The most I do, as far as what people probably would consider to be a cut, is the day prior I'll fast, and I'll just have I just won't eat, very little water so I don't put on any just before the fight. But I tend to lose it over a period of a few months. So if I started this camp, let's say back in April, May time, that's about the time when I would have started losing the weight.
What's your normal weight when you're not fighting?
When I'm normally not fighting, it's sitting around 185, 190 pounds. Unfortunately, this time around, I got hurt back in February, and I decided that the best way to handle my injured self in my time off was to just consume quantities of cake, various quantities, and that led me to be about 200 pounds before this last camp.
Okay, so this camp got you back into shape.
Oh, definitely did, 100%.
Who's your favorite fighter to watch in the history of MMA?
Of all time is Anderson Silva. I aspire to have that level of striking. I aspire to have that level of mentality and confidence. And I also aspire one day to be able to spar with him a little bit if he's okay with that. I mean, I'll definitely get my ass kicked, but that'd be a wonderful day in my book.
Is he still boxing? I haven't heard anything since his last victory in boxing.
I believe he's still active. I don't know if he's had another fight yet, and I could be mistaken. That could be like his one-off. He wanted to prove himself as a pro boxer, and that's the end of it. But I do think he's got another one here soon.
Very good. And where can fans follow you on social media?
So on social media, you can find me anywhere under the name @BearFiorda. Bear like the animal, Fiorda. And that's across all social media platforms. And same thing for my nonprofit gym. If you want to go and support that, all the platforms are @FreeMMA Gyms with an S. And in the links and the bios of both those profiles are ways for you to donate and support the nonprofit as well, if you want to help us pursue and give everyone in the world free martial arts.
Well, that seems to be a pretty good goal. We'll let you finish this off by telling the fans why should they watch this fight of yours tomorrow.
I say the biggest reason you should watch my fight is from a learning experience. Learn from what I do and what I didn't do. How can you yourself improve? How can you do better than your buddy Bear here? But apart from that, something that makes me a little more happier is because I love that support. Guys, I'm only as good as I am, and I've only made the following I have on social media because of all of you, because of the support. And I know I'm going to win this fight for that exact same reason. So tune in, watch me win, and we can all celebrate together post-fight.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV. Please help me out and like this video, then click the subscribe